Hey guys, welcome to yet another episode of Period Sis. I'm your host, Mandy B, and I am so excited because today we are joined by I would say a good friend of mine. She is the host, one half of the Good Moms Bad Choices podcast. And why I'm so excited to have this conversation with her today is simply because it is a continuation of a former conversation that was had on my other podcast, HOREible Decisions. But it is, I would say, a year later, a year in a panorama, in a year where we are now being introduced to the conversations of vaccines. So my good friend, Mila, today we are going to have the conversations regarding vaccines and anti-vaxxers and whether you should or shouldn't and all the thoughts surrounding that. So guys, it's another tale of womanhood for women by women. Hi, Mila. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
And I'm not going to lie. I feel like I've been trying to get you on the show for the last few months, and then we end up partying, and then we're like, oh, hey, we forgot. Oh, then no mic. Then, hey, no. And I was actually nervous about asking you to have this conversation because the internet tried to destroy you the last time you publicly had this conversation.
To look at y'all's YouTube. Like, I did not look for months to look at those comments. And finally I did. And I was like, oh my, okay, well. But, I'm actually excited. I have this conversation often. I don't go seeking it out, but I stand firm in my beliefs, and the internet bullies are not going to change that. So I welcome the conversation. And because honestly, when we had that conversation last year, I think it was as soon as it was about to explode.
It was literally maybe 3 weeks, I want to say, before shutdown on this coronavirus panorama. Like I said, this whole thing just fucking burst in front of us. And then I think that did revisit people to even attack the views during that episode, because here we are in a pandemic with a virus that no one knows about and that there's no medicine for. We know nothing about it. And it was just really bad timing. But now there is a conversation amongst a lot of us regarding this vaccine. So let's start from the very beginning. Were you raised holistically to where you had natural remedies? Did your parents not want to vaccinate you as a child? Where did these beliefs come from?
Honestly, I was vaccinated as a child. Also, I don't feel like my parents were our parents were given as much weren't empowered as much to make their own decisions. You kind of listen to the doctor and do what they say. I grew up vegetarian, so I kind of feel like that kind of played a part in it. I'm just natural, and but honestly, my ideas and beliefs are just my own and what sits well with me. And when I had a kid, what made sense to me, sometimes something else makes sense to someone else and it resonates with them, and that's just what it is. And I have to go with my gut and my intuition. So it doesn't necessarily have to do with anything how I was brought up. It was just what sat with me. And I had a best friend who's 8 years older than me. She has 3 daughters, and so she was a mom way sooner. And so she had talked about she gave birth naturally to all of her kids. She didn't vaccinate any of them. And when I met her, and even the way she gave birth made sense to me. So when I did have Luna years later, that it already made sense to me, So I wasn't persuaded by anyone. It was just when I met someone who had a particular experience, that is what made sense to me. We have a baby, it comes straight from God through our vagina, and I'm pretty sure God sends the baby how it's supposed to come. He's not here you go, now add 3 things and she'll be fine. I feel like sometimes, I think sometimes we think we're God, and that's ridiculous. I felt strongly that as soon as she busted out of my pussy, everybody could calm down about injecting her with things I didn't mix up myself in the kitchen. It just didn't make sense that a baby would come here straight from God, and then I would need to hook it up with some extra stuff.
So you did have a natural birth. I guess then my question would be, just because I am a product of the public school system, and there's certain series of shots that I remember having to get And again, my mom just knew that, hey, in order for my child to go to school, she needed this series of shots. And so I got shot up with the Hep B series, Hep whatever. Were those, well, I guess, what was your response to that? Did your child need those shots? Has that changed? Of course, I'm 30, so I'm not sure what it's like being a mom now or if that has changed. What was that conversation like? Did you do it? Did you not do it?
It's interesting. In the state of California, they recently, like a few years ago, changed it so that it's mandatory to get vaccinations. You cannot, previously you were able to file religiously exempt, but in California, you are no longer allowed to do that. Luna is in school. She is in public school, and I did administer her a type of vaccination. It's not a shot. It's a holistic remedy. It's like it's very small doses and like pellets. That is what I had to do for her to go to school. It sat with me better that it wasn't being injected. I did it when she was like 5. She wasn't like a newborn. And that doctor that I went to is an MD, and also he's a holistic practitioner, so he doesn't believe in the traditional shots. So he was able to sign off on her immunization records.
Gotcha.
The funny thing is, though, when I did this process, I recorded it on Instagram. And I was like, if any other moms want to hit me up about, my process, let me know. And girl, like 2 hours later, the whole story was gone. No warning.
Wait, what?
No why. There was no trace of the story. People had responded, so it was there, but it was not there. And it wasn't like you got flagged. It was just gone. And it made me and I probably had written like vaccination alternatives in the story. So I had hit up some of my other friends who are more anti-vaxxers, and they're like, oh, that happens all the time, because the internet doesn't want you to promote such things.
So this episode may not last up or be up very long. Is this something that you're teaching your daughter, like to think for self? And I just ask because, of course, I'm also someone who walks around and says, I don't believe in science. I mean, even in this show, there's people that have shared their stories and they're like, the doctors don't even know how it happened or why it happened. I mean, there's still so many things unanswered that can't be answered medically as well as to how things happen. I guess, where are you going with the conversation with your daughter and even your friends? Is it something where you're trying to lean them towards anti-vaxxing, or are you just educating them on your decisions and still letting them make their own?
I'm not here to save everybody. I don't need to bring anyone to my side. However, if it's something like someone is seeking information about my opinion, or a mom who's trying to figure out what works for them, absolutely, I don't mind sharing my opinion. And like, inevitably, as a human being, my child is going to understand my beliefs, and when she gets of age, why I didn't do certain things. But it's for me, I just believe heavily in like nature. I believe in like the foods that we eat. I don't believe that God or spirit, whoever you believe in, is going to deliver some type of like illness that there's also not a cure to within our natural habitat. I think a lot of this shit is man-made, and I think that the medical industry in Western culture is for profit. It has been for many years. It's not because they're moral or they're ethical. It's clearly about money. And in that type of big pharma business, I just choose to remove myself and my child from their evil. I don't feel like they're really here to, like, the Food and Drug Administration is one administration. So it's no secret in America, they're not feeding us for health. They're not feeding us, like a lot of the foods that we are allowed to consume are cancer fucking foods, if you look in the black neighborhoods or the urban neighborhoods, you see hella liquor stores and churches and Popeyes. Those chickens are big as shit.
Girl. Not only that, I just left the Bronx, and it's I'm now in a different borough in a different area of New York, and that is literally, I think I bring it up like once a week. my food options, I feel like I'm in a different country actually. Like my options even for meats, like I was like, Mom, there is lamb chops and lobster tails available at the supermarket across the street. Nowhere in the Bronx could I get lamb chops. Nowhere in the Bronx was I just getting like fresh lobster tail like that. And it's just like, yeah, like it's definitely socio-economically driven as well as to what our options are. I guess I wanted to ask you, outside of vaccines and before we get into even talking about the COVID vaccine, I want to ask you, have you ever used a Plan B, a Monistat, birth control, like any of those things? Because while they're not a vaccine, they're still essentially medicine, Western medicine. And if you've used those, how do those differ from your thoughts on vaccines? And look at you. You ain't think I was going to take it here, did you? Yes, ma'am, because this is Period Sis. And we talk about, reproductive systems, safe sex, our bodies. And of course, there are a lot of holistic treatments for, say, yeast infections, BV, but also we know Monistat is right there at our joint. We know that Plan B is available to us. What are your takes on those sorts of medicines, and do you use those? And if so, why?
I'm a human being with a vagina, so unfortunately, yes, I have. I've definitely used Plan B this month.
Oh my God!
I'm just kidding. I've used Plan B. I'm a fucking human being. I have a child. I'm scared. I have PTSD. I don't love birth control, but I definitely have taken it. I'm not on it right now. I try not to be. I don't fuck with Monistat because a lot of women don't know, but they're allergic to Monistat. You're trying to get rid of fucking yeast and you're pushing some shit up your coochie that's going to make you allergic. A lot of women are allergic to Monistat. So I don't fuck with that. But also, I'm not very yeasty, except when I'm pregnant. However, I really don't take a lot of medicine. I think ginger ale and tea.
Oh, Jesus, not the ginger ale.
I'm a Black person. I don't really do a lot of medicines. I do ginger ale and tea. But no, I do. I try to avoid medicine at all costs. I really do genuinely feel like the things that we put in our body are either fuel or medicine or not. They are, I try to avoid it by any means necessary, but I also feel very differently. I feel that like injecting something into my body and taking a Plan B or birth control are not on the same level. And obviously it's for a very specific reason. So yes, I have. Do I try to avoid it at any cost? Absolutely. But I'm human.
So you definitely even brought up the pellets earlier. And so could you explain to me your understanding or difference between ingesting something orally and being shot up essentially with a needle? Like where is the fear or PTSD, or where is the logic between the difference between the two?
My logic is just that if I take something orally, it's going to digest. My body will absorb it to some extent, but then I'm going to put it back out via urine or pooping.
Okay.
It's going to leave my body. My discomfort with vaccinations is that I'm injecting it in myself, and that's it.
Okay, so right now, and again, I did definitely want to talk about this because I am currently with a partner who is just like, oh my God, please don't get the vaccine. Of course, I'm talking about the COVID-19 vaccine. This has been a very, I would say, prominent conversation amongst my peers, even my family. And I guess it's weird because, of course, we all don't know the side effects of this. And I think one of the largest concerns that I've heard specifically from women is them not knowing how this will affect their reproductive system, how it will affect whatever newborn they may have in the future, because we literally have not had someone who's had the vaccine long enough to go through an entire pregnancy as well to see the kind of what can happen, the long-term effects. I guess, what are those conversations like with you right now? Because like I said, last year, I was like, oh my God, girl, I can't believe you're saying this. And now with this new vaccine being presented, you sound like everyone else that I'm in close proximity with. And I think you and I kind of butted heads a little bit on the thought. And now I am having a different kind of view on it. Although I am also, I will say to you, I'm probably going to get the vaccine and not tell anyone at this point, because everyone that I talk to as I'm making my appointment is just like, girl, you better not do that. And they scare me away from it. But I'm someone as well. Like when I traveled to Nigeria, like 5 years ago, in order to get into Nigeria, you need the yellow fever vaccine. Girl, went and got it because, bitch, I wanted to travel and get into this country. And I know that we may reach a point where you can't do certain things or travel to certain places or go to certain events without this vaccine. And I'm just to the point where I'm just like, fuck it, I want to live my life. What are your thoughts now, or what are you preaching? Are you also concerned about the reproductive long-term effects? What are your thoughts on this COVID vaccine?
I just want to start by saying, ain't it funny how bitches have an opinion and then they get a nigga who got another opinion and then they with that nigga's opinion?
Yo, shut up. I will say my nigga also is like, listen, I know you have your own opinions and you're probably going to get the vaccine. I just want you to know I do care about you and really don't want you to get it. And I'm just like, I'm considering it. But first off, thanks for calling me out. But yes, I'm still questioning my dude as well with his thoughts. So what have your conversations been regarding this vaccine?
I think, first of all, my friends, I'm not having a lot of conversations about it because if I didn't fuck with vaccinations for my infant child, you have to know I'm not fucking with this one. I feel like it's really interesting that people, I'm happy that women or people in general are having these thoughts, because I think a part of the issue is, and now, like, when we had this conversation initially on Horrible, we weren't friends, so you didn't know me, so now I can be like, right. Look, bitch. Right. Let me break some shit down for you. The thing is, this is my issue with people in general, with the general public. You cannot just accept something at face value when you look at the history of the United States. The United States has not been so kind over the years, or honest, or upfront. You know, there are basic things that we know to be true. Like I was talking about Big Pharma, about the insurance companies, about how they deny people health care over pre-existing bullshit. It's no secret that America ethically and morally doesn't give a fuck about you guys or me. Okay, let's be clear. So when it comes to my health, I'm not going to just be like, okay, Dr. America, you said to do what? Okay. Like, that doesn't sit well with me. I just want more. I encourage more people. Like, you don't have to think like I think, but think for yourselves. Use the fucking logic. As far as the reproduction shit goes, I'm very happy that women are having this conversation. I feel like it's only because of, like, fucking Handmaid's Tale, though. But
oh my God.
Everyone's like, oh no.
Which I'm not gonna lie, that show is very scary. Just seeing what we've went through in the last year with the pandemic, and I think there was even the names of certain things in that show aligned with like the big pharma companies that were coming out with vaccines as well. And I can't remember the goddamn name now, but yeah, I don't want to give all the credit to Handmaid's Tale.
It takes for some shit like that for people to even think like, oh no, like, could the government do some fucked up shit? Hey, absolutely. It's not out of their wheelhouse. I feel like people just don't think people are that evil. But if you look at history and you look at some things, if you pay attention, they are. It's a very evil industry. However, like I believe heavily in like natural childbirth, and when I was pregnant, I researched a lot, and there's actually a documentary that I encourage all pregnant women or women who want to have kids to watch called The Business of Being Born. It's actually produced by Ricky Lake. Oh, yeah, okay. It's good. But one of the things they talk about in the documentary is not that long ago, like maybe 50 or 60 years ago, there was a drug that they were giving women in childbirth that that was supposed to aid them in the pain, that generations later, like years later, like their second babies or like those babies were later coming out amputated, like with no arms, one arm. And it took them a long time to figure out why, but it was this medicine that they were administering to the women during pregnancy and childbirth. So
Wow.
these things do exist and do happen in America. They're just not highly publicized. These are things that happened not that long ago. There's literally images of these children in these like special houses, because even then that type of like being disabled to that extent was not okay and acceptable, and they just put you in special places to stay. So
Wow.
with that being said, I'm more than aware that long-term testing and drugs is necessary. There are long-term effects if you're not paying. Like generally speaking, I want to say like I think by standard, you're supposed to test a drug for like 40 years or some shit. It's a long time of testing. You can't tell me that the corona they just busted out last year that they, first of all, I've heard about 50 different things about this shit. It could travel through air. It can't, blah, blah, blah. It could travel through mask. There's so much information. There's so much information that is just not accurate and has changed so much in the last year. You can't fucking convince me that this vaccination you've mixed up this year is suddenly perfectly ready to go and has long-term testing. I'm not gonna be your guinea pig, and neither is my kid either. So well,
you know, I don't want no kids, so I'm just like, it really don't matter over here to me. No, I'm just playing.
You don't want to have kids, Mandy?
No, I don't want children, and it's honestly one of those conversations that, and I brought up a couple episodes even with May, having this show, it almost sucks because I have had all of these conversations with women that have these reproductive issues and medical conditions and can't have children. And here I am, like, I'm sure perfectly fine eggs, and they just better keep dropping and losing, because I don't think I really want kids ever. Honestly, I feel like my businesses are my babies. And I mean, I'm going to have a conversation like that in the future as well, just at how many women put their jobs and careers before motherhood. And I feel like I'm one of those women, being in a position where I think women didn't have the opportunity to be. Like, for so long, we could only be married off someone's property and then the mother of children. I think that was the option that women had for so long as their only option to live, or they were Jezebels. And if we're going to get back to Handmaid's Tale, you know? And so a part of me just loves going against the grain, but I really love growing babies as far as my businesses. And that's where I find happiness. I also would love to be able to buy shoes over Pampers. I'm also very selfish in that way. So and my cat is bad as fuck. So if my cat is this bad, I can only imagine what an infant child would be. And I can't take it. Like, I don't have the patience.
Kids are bad as fuck, and they live a long time. So, but I commend you for, being vocal about that. I think a lot of women get like in their 30s or their late 20s, and they feel obligated, like it's something to do on a goddamn checklist, and it's not. And like your existence isn't, you're like, as a woman, isn't the same if you don't have a baby. So if you don't want to have a baby, don't let nobody convince you, because shit's not easy, and it could be not that fun. So it could be fun, but it could not be. So if you're already leaning towards no, stand in that, and that's okay. And like, you're a woman regardless whether you have a baby or not. Motherhood is not the only goal for women. So I support you.
Well, thank you, friend, for supporting me. I guess before we get out of here, I do like to lead off with our guests leaving some bit of advice, leaving some bit of moral of the story. And I really love that throughout this interview, you just kept reiterating that these were your feelings, your decisions, and you love that you have that right here in the U.S. But what advice would you give to someone like me, I would say, who's actually teetering between really wanting to get the vaccine because I just want to live, but also having people who are influencing you to maybe wait it out? What would be your advice to someone like myself?
I mean, I totally understand you, because I don't want to be stuck in fucking California because the government is forcing me to get an immunization. I want to travel. I'm a fucking runner. I want to travel and fly and be free. I'm more concerned that the government will ever have a hand in whether or not I can travel. My biggest fear is like bio warfare. I don't want to live in any government system that's going to implement what I put in my body. That is very scary to me. And everyone is like, oh, she's a conspiracy theorist. There's a chip. I don't know about all that. But I do feel like I should have the right over my body and my domain. If I inject something in it, I don't think I should have, like, that scares me. I want to leave by saying, do not be bullied. That's how I feel. I don't want to be bullied into taking or peer pressured into putting something in my body. Also, I know a lot of Black women and women of color and people of color are listening to this. Historically, there have been things specifically to us medically, experiments, that have not gone well. Like the syphilis experiment in Tuskegee was not that long ago. And women, terrible things happened to people because some white people were like, let's just tell them it's a vaccine and see what happens. I don't trust these motherfuckers, and you shouldn't either. And I encourage you to look at history, and I encourage you to think for yourself and just think about what makes sense. Just because somebody's wearing a white lab coat and has a fucking MD and is paid a lot of money to go to school doesn't mean they know everything. And sometimes you have to just listen to your body and to what makes sense. I don't believe God's going to put you in this scary world with this scary disease and not give you anything to fix it. And also, what the fuck are you eating, yo? Like, if you're eating a bunch of bullshit and then you're going to run and get a fucking vaccination, I encourage you to reconsider that too. Like, how are you living on your day-to-day life? Like, when Corona hit, I'm sure a lot of people went into their health, their health shit and taking ginger shots and turmeric and whatever your thing is at your house. But lean in on that. Like, for hundreds and thousands of years, niggas were being born, no vaccinations were had, and we're all still here. You know what I mean? Just like we all were born without there being gynecologists. Civilization still existed. Hello, we are here. So I just encourage everyone to think for themselves. And also, I know I'm going to get a lot of shit per the usual, but respect everybody else's decision. And everybody, this is my body, my child's, my daughter. She's perfectly healthy. Guess what? It's a year later, panorama, no vaccinations. We're Gucci. I just feel like don't live in fear. And think for yourselves, and don't let anybody, because they claim to have more education than you, take control over what you feel is best for you and yours. Because sometimes that intuition is what the fuck we're supposed to go on and not just being told by somebody else.
Well, you said it all. And now I don't know if I'm going to get this vaccine. No. But Jamilah, thank you so very much for joining me today on Period Sis. Where can my listeners listen to you? Because you do have a weekly show as well.
I do. You can find me at Good Moms Bad Choices. It's at Good Moms _Bad Choices. We're Good Moms Bad Choices everywhere. I'm not always talking about this deep ass shit. We're talking about a lot of things over there, motherhood and other. But also feel free to hit me, because you know what? I did get a lot of messages privately after WHOREible Decisions. Not a whole lot, but I did hear what you said. I really appreciate you saying some things. I'm like, thank God 3 people care about my idea. But you can also hit me personally at Milah, MILAH _Mappo, MAPPO on Instagram. If you have any questions or if you want to talk about, a lot of things, I like to talk. So thank you,
Yes,
Mandy.
and guys, all of that information will be in the description of this episode. Thank you so much, Milah, for finally getting on here on Period Sis. And guys, as always, stay tuned for a little bit of stats and facts after this. Bye, guys.